Good morning. This is Chasity Craft. I want to talk to you today about the revised Kentucky academic standards for reading and writing, with focusing on the interdisciplinary literacy practices. We're just going to talk about number one today, but I want to talk about the number one practice and how it impacts students with disabilities. Number one is just recognize that text is anything that communicates a message. Many times for students with disabilities, that's hard for them to realize that like a text that is in math or science, they don't make that connection. So we want to use this practice to help them recognize that it could be anything that communicates a message to them. So what we're going to look at, just disregard all of the other stuff on the screen that you see, because I just wanted to show you this. Students with disabilities. So the goals that we have for our kids is they want to comprehend the message of any text, whether it be obviously, and then apply those skills across the content areas. Sometimes what I ran into is if they learn something in one class or the resource room, then they will even ask you, do I do this in writing class, or do I do this when I go back to math class? Yes. So we want them to all automatically know that what they learn in one place, they carry that over to all content areas. And then improve overall student achievement, and then of course mastery of the Kentucky academic standard. So that's our 4 goals for our students, because we want them to increase their achievement. And by doing that, we have noted some teaching practices. I didn't want to be specific as far as strategies, because you guys are professionals and you can come up with the specific strategies that fits best for your students. But these are just some practices to keep in mind while you're coming up with those strategies and lesson plans to help your students. So the first one is, and they all go in together. That's why we put it into a chart like this, because there's really, no certain order in how they would be. All of these need to combine together in order to meet those goals that we have for our kids. The first one, we'll just go in order, would be maintaining the rigor. A lot of times when we have students with disabilities, we think, it's one that you just care too much for them, you feel sorry for them, so you kind of make it easier for them. So we want to be careful and make sure that we maintain that rigor for those students so that they can reach their grade level standards. And then that leads into the next one with high expectations for our children. We want to get them, because help them to reach that higher level of accomplishments. If we set high expectations for them, they will score better. So we set that pace for those kids. And also clear expectations. A lot of times we use vocabulary students are not familiar with, or we just assume that they know what we're talking about. So we want to make sure when we state our expectations for our kids, that they are clear and use wording that they understand. The next one is explicit instruction. I feel like this is very, very important for our students. Our students need that extra assistance, that modeling the concrete concepts and ideas, and then to move on to that abstract that also, the explicit instruction and then scaffolding and modeling kind of all go in together. We want to provide the modeling and the scaffolding for those kids while doing that grade level, grade appropriate content with those practices that will increase their performance, and also give them the confidence and the support that they need to meet those goals, which will overall help with their learning, and they will get the concepts of that. Also, our kids, they need multiple opportunities for student responses. They need extra reteachings, extra opportunities to practice. Sometimes, in lessons, you'll go through the lesson. Many kids get it the first time and they can move on, and that's wonderful. Some kids need that extra 1 time, 2 times. Sometimes they need extra 10 times. They need that reinforcement over and over and over to give them opportunities to practice so that they can master the skill set. I think that's very important for our kids. There's different ways that you can do that. And this could be in a co-teaching setting as well as in the resource room, or both. You can do a little bit in the co-teaching regular classroom or also in the resource room as well, which if you are able to do it in resource and co-teaching, that's an extra opportunity for them. I know sometimes kids are more comfortable in a smaller group setting in the resource room. I have found that to be the case in a lot of times. So you can maybe start in there so that they can build their confidence a little bit, and then also when they get to the co-teaching and then try it in the regular classroom setting, then they would be more apt to participate and being part of the group. And then also, at the end, of course, you need your formal and informal assessment to see. You want to check and make sure they're getting the strategy or the skill or the content or the standard that you are wanting them to get. There's different ways to do that. Not want to go into that right now, but some formative assessments just to check something that you do to make sure that they get it. And if they don't, then go back down to your opportunities, and then if they do, keep moving forward. I think with this, our interdisciplinary literacy practices in the revised standards are going to be really good for our kids. It will help them tie in the content and that they need to know to be successful, and also it will help us as teachers to guide them into getting what they need so that they can be successful adults when they graduate. So this is just a little outline, a highlight of some things that to keep in mind when you are using these practices. We're just focusing on the one that they need to recognize, that any text, it is anything that communicates a message to them, and to apply those skills across all content areas. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you can contact me at chasity.craft@letcher.kyschools.us. Thank you.